All right. AOC has been making a habit recently of saying things that are totally obvious, like balls and strikes comments. Like, if I was in another country as a, young social democrat, I would be in a different party than a, conservative like Joe Biden, because we are diametrically opposed on Wall Street, healthcare, any number of issues. People had a meltdown about that. Here she is making another point with Ta-Nehisi Coates that, I don't know. I'll ask you, Brendan, will there be a big freak out about this?
I know. It'll probably get eaten up in a news cycle.
Right, absolutely.
In what you said earlier, too, I wanted to go back to what you said about our left party. We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party. The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party. There are left members inside the Democratic Party that are working to try to make that shift happen. But you're right, it does convey a certain sentiment about true believers. And
okay. Yeah, I think we got it. So what do you think is the value of her stating obvious points like this?
I think the value is the same value that, you see when Trump does it, right? Is that the Democratic Party has this veil of silence around certain issues in order to maintain their legitimacy in the minds of the people who vote for them, who I think whose politics tend to be further left than the Democratic Party, just instinctually. Right. I think a lot of people's politics, even maybe Joe Rogan, are instinctually better than political operators, not because they are not savvy, but because they haven't mind flooded themselves into believing that they are, in pursuit of some objective truth. The problem with a lot of these people, with New York Times editorial staff, which I mentioned earlier, is that they think that there's some objective arbiters of what's going on, and they don't recognize that their own class position colors their view. It's like they recognize that certain class positions color their view, like their race or their gender. But the idea of I'm a member of the media, my socioeconomic background, my comfort, where I live, those things just become erased as part of a broader narrative. The value of this is that this is going to be the first time some people hear this. Right. It's going to be the first time. Just speaking broadly, if we were talking about the Democratic Party primary as it stands, people who are still running, if in a different country, Germany, for example, the people in the primary would be split across maybe 5 parties. Right. With Yang and some sort of weird pirate type party, and Joe Biden kind of a center right party, and then going all the way to Bernie, which would be a Democrat, a Dem social Dem kind of party. But not only, I will just double down what she says, not only do we not have a center left or left party, we have something worse. It's not as though we have a center conservative party and we just don't, an organic left party just never arose. It's what we have is we have a center conservative party, we have a far right party, and the center conservative party can only be viable for as long as they prevent a far left party from rising. And so the dynamic is so toxic that that it's not the left is being smothered in its nascency. And I think that's the kind of key takeaway here. We have a party. Republican Party is just, I hate to be blunt, but they're just they're terroristic. They're evil. It's for the most part, I don't think they're redeemable. The good Republicans don't exist. They only exist as a fantasy of the bad Democrats or the good Democrats or whatever, but they don't, irredeemable. The Democratic Party, though, their relationship with the far left is so much more toxic than their relationship with the far right. And even the far right's relationship with the far left can be in some ways not as toxic. Not that we should be aligning with them, but the problem is that they're only viable as long as they keep the far left out of the shine. Right. They're only as viable as long as they like they say, good things. It's good to dream big, but as long as you don't actually try to bring those things to fruition, that's when, we're going to just stomp you out. People complain about Bernie Sanders' age, as an example. And, it's the same thing with the lack of people of color in the race. It's the reason Bernie Sanders has to run as a 79-year-old because every other progressive challenger who might have rose through the race in the Democratic Party was stomped out. Right. They were not given the funds they needed. They were, either transformed into whatever, fungible, low rank member is, or they were sucked into the progressive caucus, and they just do nothing sometimes. And so, it's not even that we don't have a left party. It's that a left party is being forcibly stopped from existing because that's the only way Democrats can maintain their viability. And until we recognize that we have antagonistic relationship with our center left party, quote unquote, it's not going to be possible to develop a leftist movement of any real repute because it's just that's an existential threat to them. The far right is not an existential threat to them, which is the problem.
No, it's a brand. Yeah, no,
it's a branding exercise.
A branding exercise. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.